Hey everybody, Animalman here. I apologize for the lighting, it's probably horrible, but I wanted to get this video out there. A subscriber to my channel commented on one of my previous videos. His name is Iceman, so shout out to you, Iceman. This video is because of your comment. He asked me if I could put together a video for you guys about the coronavirus that's happening. So that's what this is. This is just an off-the-cuff video on my personal thoughts on the virus and what you can do to prepare for a pandemic just in case. And make no mistake, I feel right now, I feel like this is going to be just another thing, just another scare, you know, like the swine flu and everything else that passes, and it's not going to become a huge deal for the majority of people. You know, those people that have already died and been affected by it, my heart goes out to them and their families, and that's horrible. But what I'm talking about is a much more widespread pandemic around the world. And you know, I live in New England, Massachusetts, and so I'm going to talk about, you know, it as it pertains to it happening here. And I know the Iceman said he lives up in Toronto, so in his comment, I mean, he said the majority of it, it's all the same preparations that everybody should be doing anyway. I like to kind of focus on a lot of the wintertime things, because, you know, the winter is rough around here. If you don't have heat, you have to have an alternate way to heat your home. That's number one. Freezing will kill you way before any virus does. So you've got to have an alternate method to heat your home. One of my previous videos, I talk about how to heat your tent or your home safely with a catalytic propane heater, and that is the option that I have. One of the options that I have. I also have 2 fireplaces and a wood stove and some other things as well, but the propane would be one of my go-tos in the short term, and then I'd switch over to wood. So you've got to heat your home. You've got to have all the normal food storage, water storage, additional ways to purify water as well. You should have this figured out for at least a month, and build onto it from there. I think you should have a lot longer, honestly, but a month might get us through the largest part of a pandemic, where there might be a mandatory quarantine in your city. You've got to stay in your house. So that means like no hunting, no foraging type of thing, unless you're wearing a mask. And then if you get caught, get arrested, and then how are you going to take care of your family then, right? So can't do that. So heating the house, food, water, got to have a way to keep your devices charged so you know what's going on, a way to keep your TV going, keep your radio going, and that type of thing. So I have a battery bank. I recommend you create a small battery bank with a deep cycle marine battery, a charger, and an inverter, and then you should have an LED display that tells you the voltage of the system. Very, very simple. You can throw it together, get everything at the local hardware store, at Walmart. You can buy them on Amazon. A very simple thing. You can also have a small solar panel, but you have to rely on the sun, and it's the winter time, so depending on the solar panel, you have to be careful of how many watts you get to make sure you overshoot it in case it's overcast. So keep that in mind with that also. And make sure that you have the charging cables for whatever type of phone you have, whether it's a Samsung, which is what I have, or an Apple iPhone or whatever. Make sure you have extra of the charging cables. And also, you should have at home and in the car the wall outlet that goes with the charging cable, the wall adapter, and also the 12-volt socket adapter. You should have both of those with you in the car and both of those at home. That we have the as many different ways to charge it as possible. All right, so that's important also. Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of stuff specifically for pandemics. I'm not a healthcare practitioner. I don't play one on YouTube or on Patreon or anything like that, so I'm not going to tell you anything specific about this disease, okay? I don't really know, but the protocol is kind of the same for all of these, and that's what I'm prepared for, depending on, no matter what it is, really, the protocol is the same. If you have to shelter in place because of a quarantine, you should have rolls of duct tape. You should have cheap, really thin, clear painter's tarps from like the hardware store, and they come in rolls, different size rolls, and you should have that so you can use that to close up around windows, around doors that may be drafty, around the entrances to attics, anywhere else that air may come in if you need to seal your house. Fireplaces come to mind as well. So you should have that. You should also have a way to quarantine people. You should have a room in mind that you plan on having as the quarantine room. One step better would be what I can do. I have a travel trailer parked in my driveway, and I've already thought to myself, well, if anything ever happened, that's the perfect quarantine room, because it's separate from the house, so you don't have to worry about anything crossing over to other people in the house. You just have to be careful going out there if you need to help them or whatever. But it's self-contained. It's got its own bathroom with a toilet in there. It's got its own water, although winter here is a problem, but there's ways around that. If you keep it heated up, you can have water on the inside, just not in the storage tanks underneath. It's got its own heat. It's got its own propane heat. I can run an extension cord from the house to power that also, or from my generator or from my battery bank to power the trailer. So that would be my quarantine room, the trailer. If you don't have a trailer, which a lot of you aren't going to have, maybe you can retrofit a shed in your backyard for that, or maybe you'd even have to use a tent. Again, winter is a problem for a tent if you live somewhere where it gets cold, like here in Massachusetts. So again, you can use that propane catalytic heater with a 20-pound propane tank outside the tent to heat a tent. I've done some late fall camping with that setup, and it keeps the tent like 70 degrees inside, and it's totally safe. So check out that video that I have if you want to check out how to do that, okay? So that's an option. But for most people, it's going to be a room that's out of the way in their house. You're going to have to use the duct tape and the plastic sheeting to create a quarantine room. Put a mattress, or make a mattress out of pillows with a sheet on them, or a cot or something for the person to lay on. And you're going to have food and water in there with them, and someone's going to have some type of makeshift hazmat suit, which to me, I would think the cheapest and easiest way to do that would be to go to the hardware store and get a full body disposable suit like for painting, and then get some N95 dust mask with the exhalation valve on it, and that can be your hazmat suit. And of course, gloves. You've got to have something like that, and you would switch in and out of that suit every time you have to go and help that patient. And the incubation, I think, for this disease is weird. It can be anywhere from a few days to a couple of weeks, which is crazy. So quarantine would be something that we'd have to really stay on top of. It would be a real pain with this if it's like I'm hearing it is. So that's the majority of it, guys. I mean, aside from that, prescription meds, make sure you have extras of your prescription meds. If your doctor does not let you, I recommend you get a new doctor. I understand if it's like narcotics, okay, you're not going to get extra of that, but for me, I have asthma, so I can say to my doctor, hey man, like I went in probably 3 weeks ago and saw my primary, and I was like, can I have 3 more inhalers? And he actually subscribes to this YouTube channel. He knows me, he knows the deal, and he's like, yeah, I have no problem with that. And he sent it right in. I picked it up an hour later. So you should be able to do that. For this type of thing, I believe the coronavirus affects your breathing a lot, and you get very congested. So you're going to have things to take care of that. Things like Mucinex and expectorants. Now, a natural expectorant, again, this statement has not been approved by the American whatever. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what can cure diseases, blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. But a natural expectorant is pine needle tea. You have to know how to properly identify pine trees, though, and the short of that is pine needles are the only evergreen with needles where they grow in bunches, okay? Everything else grows in single needles. That's the shorthand of how to identify pine for sure. All right, and yeah, some types of pine only have single needles, but the majority of the species have bundles of needles, between 2 and 5 needles per little bundle. So that's your way to identify pine. And you want just green needles. Chop them up, and for Vitamin C tea, you just want to steep it in warm water. You should be able to hold your finger in the water. It's not burning hot water like you're making like coffee or something, okay? That's for vitamin C. If you want to get the expectorant medication out, you boil the needles for like just a few minutes. And then it tastes totally different. It tastes very bitter. It smells bitter. But that's got the medicinal values in it now, okay? So that's a natural expectorant that all around here, I mean, pine is one of the most common trees around here. I don't know about all over the country, but I believe it is all over the country. You should be able to walk anywhere in this country. If I drop you off in a helicopter, when you touch down, you should be able to walk to a pine tree. Anywhere in this country, guys. So that's an important one. Also, if anybody is an asthmatic, have extra albuterol inhalers for rescue inhalers. If you have what's the stinking breathing machine called that I have? A nebulizer. If you have a nebulizer, get the extra vials of the albuterol for your nebulizer. That's very, very important too, because if I have a really bad episode, like if I've got the flu and I can't breathe, sometimes I get to the point where my inhaler, I can puff on that sucker all day and it just doesn't do it, and I can't sleep. And at that point, if there's no intervention, I don't know what would happen. So if you're an asthmatic, ask to get a nebulizer. Sometimes your insurance will cover it. They have ones that plug into the wall. They have ones that work with a 12-volt socket. I have both types. And they have ones with a little mouthpiece or ones with a mask. And you can get extras of it. Just get little vials. It comes with little vials that you get with a prescription of your albuterol for your breathing treatments. So make sure you have that type of thing if anyone in your family has asthma, especially kids, guys, and the elderly, because kids and the elderly are particularly susceptible to anything having to do with their breathing. So you've got to really be on top of that. So please chime in, everybody, if you have any other recommendations or comments. I'm sure there's probably going to be tons. I'm trying to be as thorough, just off the cuff as I can. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here and trying to not make this video an hour long. But please let me know what you think. Please like it. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. And please check me out on Patreon, guys. I'm trying to get a little community, survival community going there, my inner circle. So please head over to patreon.com/AnimalmanSurvivor. Become a patron. All my videos get up there early. They get up there totally ad-free. And I have exclusive content on there too. So please, I can really use the support. Thanks for watching, everybody. And please be safe, be well, and all the best to you and your family from the Animal Man. Thanks, guys.